If you thought the Pats might take it easy during training camp after making their long run last year, you were sadly mistaken, my friends. This is Locked On Patriots.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's happening? I am your host, Nick Cattles. On today's show, the more the Pats practice, the more Mike Vrabel and Drake Maye gas up Pop Douglas's expected impact on 2026. In the second segment, the concerns with the offensive guard depth are getting bigger by the day. But first, Mike Vrabel goes full throttle. Today's episode is brought to you by Kalshi. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code LOCKEDON to get up to $500 in bonus credits when you trade $25. What strikes me the most about this camp is the fact that Mike Vrabel and this football team are going after it, and they're going after it hard compared to last year's training camp. As a matter of fact, Mike Vrabel was criticized by some people about how he was going, quote unquote, soft or easy on the guys last year. Well, this year, not the case. Not the case at all. Tuesday's practice was the fifth straight padded practice for the Patriots. So not only 5 padded practices within the last week or so, but 5 straight padded practices. Mike Vrabel is ramping up the physicality this camp compared to last year's camp. He is ramping up the intensity this camp versus last year's camp. And the competitiveness is clear to everybody watching, reading, listening to what's happening at this camp. Headlined by A.J. Brown and Christian Gonzalez, coming close to scuffling, according to Mike Giardi, during Monday's practice. And this is fascinating to me because leading into this camp, we discussed how tough it is for any team in the NFL to get to back-to-back Super Bowls. The battle of attrition. This Patriots team last year, a lot of the guys that were on the team, right, this year or on the team last year, a lot of these guys played in 21 football games last year. That's a lot of football. We're talking about a shortening of the offseason. You finish your season in February, you turn right back around a month or two later, and you're back on the field working out and getting ready for the next season. So even though the Patriots faced this battle of attrition after a long run to the Super Bowl last year, Mike Vrabel is not shying away from the grind. Now, he's still managing certain guys. Morgan Moses continues to be managed. Reggie Gilliam was not at practice on Tuesday, continuing to be managed. A few others from time to time have been managed. On Sunday, we saw some early departures from a number of veterans on the team. But 5 straight padded practices after playing 21 games last year. Mike Vrabel is sending a message to his football team. What we did last year, getting to the Super Bowl, it was great. We all enjoyed it. We did not enjoy the Super Bowl, of course, but it was a great run, an unexpected and great run. But don't be fat and happy. We're coming right back, and we are attacking training camp. That's the message to his team. Now, as far as practice on Tuesday, Drake Maye started slowly. This has happened before. It will happen again. We will keep on talking about Drake Maye getting off to slow starts, sluggish starts. His accuracy isn't always there when he first touches the field. So Drake Maye, again, slow start on Tuesday, but he heated up as the day went on. Drake Maye started 1 for 5. 1 for 5 was the start at Tuesday's practice for Maye. He finished on the day 12 of 17. Now let's do some quick math. Not a mathematician, not a professor, but if you start 1 of 5 and you finish 12 of 17, that means you went 11 of 12 to finish up this practice. So Drake Maye completed 11 of his last 12 passes on Tuesday. And again, this is a theme. Slow start at times, sluggish at times, then gets a rhythm. He starts catching on fire, starts making some plays. and his numbers look completely different by the end of the day than you would have anticipated if you just watched the first 5 or 6 throws. The Patriots also won the first 2-minute drill of camp, which is nice to see. During that 2-minute drill, Drake Maye completed 4 of his 5 pass attempts, and that set up a field goal. By the way, we haven't talked about this really at all, but Andy Borregales has been on fire during this camp. Your kicker has been on absolute fire during this camp so far. Some other notes from Tuesday's practice. Kyle Williams returned. We talked about this on yesterday's episode. You can't miss a lot of days if you're Kyle Williams. You have to try to come back as soon as humanly possible. He missed Monday's practice. Kayshon Boutte stepped up, had a good practice. If Kyle Williams wants to make a move, he's got to be on the field. He was back on the field Tuesday. Now, he didn't do much that stood out, but at least he was out on the field. He was participating. Standing on the sidelines as a receiver with this deep, wide receiver room is dangerous for you during this camp. So Kyle Williams back on the field, that is a positive. He's got to be more consistent with these flashes, but at least he was out there. Dre'Mont Jones had a good practice on Tuesday. He was credited with 2 sacks and a pressure. And, given what we have read and heard about regarding this edge group early in camp, man, Dre'Mont Jones needs to show up. Harold Landry still not practicing. Gabe Akis trying to come back from the weird offseason. Elijah Ponder, a lot has been said about Elijah Ponder, but it's not like he's dominating practice right now. So Dre'Mont Jones, he's going to be worth every penny. He got to get out there, and he's got to not only compete, but he has to do some things in the pass rush. So nice to see on Tuesday, Dre'Mont Jones. Now, one of these was off a blitz. Another play was off of a stunt. And that is also another theme with this camp. Going off last year, the Patriots offensive line having some issues with stunts, games, blitzes, all that stuff. But Dre'Mont Jones, 2 sacks and a pressure. Chad Muma. We talked about Chad Muma recently as he moves closer and closer to that 3rd linebacker spot. Well, on Tuesday, he might have actually moved closer and closer to a starting spot. Chad Muma got first-team reps. Christian Ellis, Khalil Jacobs actually ended up being on the second team during the final situational period. This is something to watch. Chad Muma has been surging a little bit. Again, we talked about it. I think it was yesterday's episode, how he looked like he was becoming the inside track guy for that 3rd spot at linebacker. He might be doing even more during this camp. So Chad Muma out there with Robert Spillane on the first team in the final situational period. Christian Ellis dropped down to the second team with UDFA Khalil Jacobs, who has had a good camp. Last note here, Gabe Akis spoke to the media after practice on Tuesday. He was asked how he feels. Gabe Akis said he's 100%. Now, of course, I did not expect Gabe Akis to say I'm 83.7%, fellas. I did not expect that. But according to the player, he's fully healthy. Fully healthy. Gabe Akis was asked about any long-term worries regarding his knee. He said he has absolutely no worries whatsoever. So these answers are expected, but they're still good to hear. The player is telling us that he's healthy. He is a full go. He's not concerned or worried about anything that's going to happen with this knee. And as far as what happened in the offseason, again, this is expected. This is predictable, but it's the right way to handle it. It's the professional way to handle it. Gabe Akis told the media that, pretty much, hey, everything's behind me. It's all in the rearview mirror. We're looking forward, which is exactly what the rookie should be saying. The Pats have some serious questions that need to be answered behind Mike Vrabel and Elijah Vera-Tucker. It's coming up next. This is Locked On Patriots, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network, your team every day. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp has been a widely used online therapy platform, and today the focus is on why so many people continue to choose it. BetterHelp has an average live therapy session rating of 4.9 out of 5 based on more than 1.7 million client session reviews, and hearing directly from people who have used the service helps paint a clearer picture of why so many continue to recommend it. More than 6 million people globally have used BetterHelp. To get started, you answer a few questions, get matched with a therapist based on your needs, and if it's not the right fit, you can switch therapists at any time. Whether it's consistency across reviews, learning about other people's experiences, or understanding how the process works, BetterHelp's review page, it's awesome. See the reviews, see what stands out, and see if BetterHelp is right for you. Visit BetterHelp.com/lockedon. That's better, HELP.com/lockedon. Thank you for making us your first listen and for being an everydayer. Quick note here, we are unfortunately discontinuing ad-free episodes here at Locked On Patriots. I can't thank those enough who had subscribed, but all subscribers to the ad-free shows should receive notification and a refund on Wednesday. And make sure you subscribe to the regular feed to get our daily content. I'm not going anywhere, and I am really excited to still have you aboard for this upcoming 2026 season. One of the top concerns heading into training camp, and we discussed it multiple times before camp kicked off, was the depth of the interior offensive line. The Patriots making the two trades up that they did in the first round, the second round, to draft Caleb Lomu and Gabe Akis respectively, cost them both of their fourth-round picks. And because of that, the interior offensive line was a positional need for this football team that they did not answer. They did not fill, right, during the draft. They also did not go out and sign a legitimate veteran for backup depth, somebody who has, long experience of playing games, starting games, really did not bring in an option at guard that would kind of, be that type of guy. And Greg Bedard on Tuesday, he wrote at Boston Sports Journal about the backup guard situation. And he wrote that it's, quote, starting to become a disaster area, unquote. And you don't have to read Greg Bedard to know things aren't necessarily going according to the plan, because backup guard, there has been a lot of tinkering going on with this football team. A lot of different moves, a lot of changes. It seems like, a plan that might be there one day is gone the next. So the Patriots are kind of going through it. Caden Wallace, I'll run through some of this tinkering. Caden Wallace was one of the guys that was looked at as maybe a top backup guard option. Well, his play really early in camp fell off a cliff. He got hurt. He's been non-existent. So there goes that plan. Ben Brown, center/guard. Now, Ben Brown played well, all things considered, when called upon the past couple of years. He played pretty well at guard last year, but he has not been good at guard so far in this camp. Looks like Ben Brown is a better backup at center than he is at guard if you're basing things off of what he's done in camp to this point. So Caden Wallace, non-factor. Ben Brown, disappointing. Andrew Rupcich up next. Come on down, Andrew Rupcich. He's been okay, but if you look at Andrew Rupcich's resume, it is full of practice squad time. So is he really an NFL-level guard? Do you want to put your money on Andrew Rupcich making this team out of camp and being the first dude to be called upon given Elijah Vera-Tucker's injury history? I don't feel quite comfortable with that. Things have now gotten to the point where the Patriots on Tuesday moved tackle James Hudson to guard. Maybe it works out. Maybe it doesn't. But I think you catch my drift here. The nonstop tinkering and tweaking of what's going on at guard behind Elijah Vera-Tucker and Mike Vrabel is concerning. It's early, but it's concerning. The Patriots are flying through the options they have on the roster. I'll have even more on the backup guard situation. But first, don't forget, if you're watching us on YouTube, click that thumbs up. Give us a like. Always appreciate the thumbs up. Helps us with the algorithm. Don't forget to throw a comment in as well. Are you surprised that Mike Vrabel has called for 5 straight padded practices after this team played in 21 football games last year? Throw a comment in. Those also help us with the algorithm. And don't forget to subscribe. The goal is 11,000 subscribers by week 1 that Wednesday night in Seattle against the Seahawks. So all of these moves at guard, backup guard, all of these moves. And then Mike Vrabel, before Tuesday's practice, told the media that we should expect more of Caleb Lomu at guard. And I'll tell you, I don't love it. I don't love it right now. You know, we've had these conversations about Caleb Lomu and his versatility. And I said, if, and words matter here, if Caleb Lomu progresses and shows that he can handle everything that is being put on his plate, then great. Then he is way ahead of schedule. I've also said when Caleb Lomu got off to a pretty good start, let's wait. Let's see if he progresses with the pads on. Let's see if he kind of falls victim of the usual rookie up and downs of a training camp, especially on the offensive line. And guess what? That's precisely what's happened. Caleb Lomu got off to a good start. They put the pads on. And as they continue to practice with the pads, Caleb Lomu has been going up and down, up and down, up and down. And some would tell you that it's been mostly down the past couple of practices, with some bad losses during his one-on-ones. So at this point right now, what you've seen from Caleb Lomu, the up and down training camp, the fact that he's been in a rut as of late in the one-on-ones, you already are asking him to move from left tackle to right tackle. And now you're entertaining the idea of also throwing him in at guard, a position that he never played at the collegiate level. On either side, he was exclusively a left tackle in college. I just don't feel like the timing is right here. I would have some significant concerns. You know, you're going up and down, and that's fine. It's expected. Again, the idea of Caleb Lomu is he is supposed to fulfill his potential at some point in 2027, 2028. If he is having the up and down camp like he's having, what I would focus on with Caleb Lomu is to make sure he gets it right at right tackle. That would be the number one priority. I would not be looking to throw more at Caleb Lomu until Lomu looks like he is comfortable and confident, until Lomu turns this thing around and has a couple of good practices consecutively. I'm not messing around with him anymore. I'm just not. I want him to be comfortable and confident and performing at right tackle before I add to his list of responsibilities. I do not like the idea right now of putting Caleb Lomu at guard. He is a future tackle for you, a future starting tackle. I wouldn't be messing around with that. Now, if he's a turnstile throughout the entire camp, he's a mess at tackle, then maybe you can start having that conversation. But I want to see him get his feet wet at right tackle, get more reps with pads on, have a joint practice under his belt at tackle, and then start to, figure out where he's at before adding or taking away any type of responsibilities. Don't rush Caleb Lomu. Don't rush Caleb Lomu and put too much on his plate because you did not adequately address the depth at guard. That's what it feels like is happening. It feels like the Patriots did not adequately fill that backup guard spot. And now they're pivoting and saying, well, in case of an emergency, let's break the glass and pull out Caleb Lomu, even though he hasn't been very good the past couple of practices. It seems like you're doubling down on a concern here. And it really feels like you're at plan E or F at backup guard. Like Caden Wallace, Didn't work out. If that was plan A, didn't work out. Ben Brown, if that's plan B, not working out. Andrew Rupsich, been okay, not banking on him. That would be plan C. Then you move James Hudson to guard. That would be plan D. And now we're thinking about moving Lomu to guard. That would be, by my count, plan E. And if I'm the Patriots, I am starting to look around sooner rather than later at maybe some veteran options to find that backup depth. Now, maybe it would take a couple weeks here. Maybe you've got to wait for guys to get cut. But I would be looking around trying to find a veteran piece. I would not be throwing this on Caleb Lomu. This is the team's issue, and Caleb Lomu should not be forced into trying to address that team issue because the team failed. They've got to figure out the offensive guard depth. Again, I said it minutes ago, especially given Elijah Vera-Tucker's history. You got to figure it out. Coming up, the Pop Douglas love continues while yet another wide receiver has stacked good days at this camp. This is Locked On Patriots, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Support for today's episode comes from Square. Behind so many of the local businesses people visit every day is Square, a platform designed to help businesses sell, manage, and grow. Whether it's a neighborhood coffee shop or your favorite restaurant, Square brings payments, banking, and more together in one connected system. It helps business owners spend less time managing technology and more time focusing on their customers. Square isn't just a payment processor. It's a complete business platform built to simplify the day-to-day. It's the little things for me, like when a restaurant is slammed, but the staff never looks stressed, or when checkout is fast, no matter how busy it gets. If you're starting a business or running one that deserves better tools, Square helps you sell, manage, and grow without slowing down. And right now, you can get up to $200 off Square hardware at square.com/go/LockedOnNFL. That's SQUARE.com/GO/LockedOnNFL. Run your business smarter with Square. Get started today. Before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade predictions in a live market. I'll give you an example with the Patriots. Can the Patriots win at least 10 games this season? Well, the Pats are currently trading at 54%, meaning a $100 trade pays out $176.42 if they reach 10 wins. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position, trade the draft pick, the game, and more on Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app and use code LOCKEDON to get up to $500 in bonus credits when you trade $25. KALSHI. Kalshi, trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. Thanks for checking out the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. The Pop Douglas hype from the head coach and the quarterback continues through this early camp. Phil Perry posted on Tuesday, high praise for Pop Douglas from Mike Vrabel today. He's spent the majority of camp as one of the team's top slot options and 11 personnel alongside A.J. Brown and Romeo Doubs. Mike Vrabel said, quote, "Nobody cares more about the team than Pop Douglas," unquote. Drake Maye went on Sirius XM NFL radio on Monday, and here's what he had to say about Pop Douglas. Quote, "I think Pop's the one from last year that's just continuing to get better and better. You see it every year. From my rookie year being with him to year 3 now, just kind of the connection and knowing how he runs routes. I think he does a great job in man. It's hard to cover him. So he's going to be a big piece of what we do when we're in 11 personnel. I'm looking forward to seeing how he continues to grow and make more plays this year. I think he definitely will," unquote. Pop Douglas is going to be a quote-unquote big piece in 11 personnel, 3 wide receiver sets. And Romeo Doubs, A.J. Brown, expected to be your 1 and 2. They don't have top-level speed. And so it makes sense if you want the speed element on the field and you trust Pop Douglas more than you trust Kyle Williams to play out of the slot, it makes sense. A.J. Brown, Romeo Doubs, Pop Douglas, that big piece in 11 personnel, playing that speedy slot receiver. And the thing that stands out when you read or hear what Drake Maye said about Pop Douglas is the experience factor. Again, Pop's been around Drake Maye now for 3 years, and that's one of the reasons why he is likely ahead of Kyle Williams or is ahead of Kyle Williams. And there's more reasons than just that, but Pop Douglas, Drake Maye, they've learned more about each other on the field. And Taylor Kyles posted on Tuesday, Demario Douglas says he feels way more comfortable running option routes after a year in Josh McDaniels' system. Wide receiver coach Todd Downing praised Douglas for his growth in that area during the offseason. There were two things that really stood in the way of Pop Douglas having more impact during the regular season. The first thing was Drake Maye's level of trust. And tied to that is Pop Douglas being in the right place at the right time. Those two things have not always been there. The trust has not always been there from the quarterback, and a big part of it is because Pop Douglas, again, the option routes, playing against zone coverages, Pop Douglas not always in the right place at the right time. So Drake Maye's expecting Pop to be somewhere and he's not there. All right, I might not look your way the next time. But that seems to have improved with more time in the system and more time with the quarterback. As far as the rest of the wide receiver room, it just feels like every day it's somebody new. A.J. Brown continues to make catches and produce in camp. He has become automatic with his slant routes. He has become borderline automatic in the red zone. Romeo Doubs showed more on Saturday this past weekend, and then he showed some stuff on Monday, so he had pretty good practices on Saturday and Monday. Kayshon Boutte had a terrific start, got quiet for a few days, but now the last 2 days, he's once again putting things together and making catches downfield. Mac Hollins has recently made some plays at practice, including on Tuesday. Mike Reese posted early candidate for play of the day, Tommy DeVito with a pretty deep ball along the right sideline that Mac Hollins hauls in for the 40-yard-ish gain. Now he beat Channing Canada, UDFA, who was closest in coverage, but Mac Hollins, again, all you can do is make plays when you're on the field, right? No matter who you're going against, your job is to make some plays, is to get noticed. Mac Hollins making plays. Doug Kyed of the Boston Herald posted, Mac Hollins has strung together impressive days. So stacking good days. Even Kyle Williams, he flashed last week. Now you want more from him and you need more from him, but he even flashed during a practice last week. Efton Chisholm has flashed on some corner route touchdown catches. Some of those have found their way on social media, those clips. So it's like every day a receiver is showing up and making plays. And it feels like it's a different dude every day. I know some people think the Patriots will keep 7 receivers. I do not. I do not think the Patriots break this camp with all 7 of these guys on the roster. Mike Reese over the weekend at ESPN.com, he mentioned not one team last year, not a single team last year broke camp with 7 receivers. And I don't think the Patriots are going to do that. So this competition, it's fun. It's fun and is tightly contested, especially when you talk about, really guys 5 through 7, 4 through 7 on a daily basis. I'd still put Kyle Williams and Efton Chisholm at the bottom of that depth chart, but they've got time. That wraps up this edition of Locked On Patriots. Reach out to me on Twitter at Nick C Radio. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Thank you for making Locked On Patriots your first listen. For your second listen, check out Locked On NFL Scouting with Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino. You can find Locked On NFL Scouting on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Catch you next time.